Welcome back to A Better Choice Homestead. My name is Kelly, and on my channel, I focus on food, growing it, preparing it, and preserving it. Today's Friday, so we are doing a freeze-dry Friday video, and this is something I am just throwing together, giving it a try. I had purchased a couple more stalks of Brussels sprouts from the farmer's market, and I ate or cooked up about 2 meals worth. But you know, those stalks are pretty big. There's a lot of Brussels sprouts on them. So I didn't want them to go bad. And I don't really like to blanch and then freeze the Brussels sprouts because they just get kind of mushy. And if you're not a Brussels sprout fan, it's probably because that's how you've had them served, mushy. So I didn't want to do that. So I thought, what about making some Brussels sprout hash and getting that freeze dried? So that's what we're doing tonight. I've already got 2 trays ready to go. I think I have enough Brussels sprouts to fill 1 more tray. So I wanted to bring you along with me to show you how I am doing this, because I gotta tell you, that stuff tastes phenomenal. Hopefully it will taste even better after it's freeze dried. All right, let's get more Brussels sprouts into the pan. When I come home from the farmer's market with Brussels sprouts, I always cut them off of the stalk because my refrigerator is not large enough or empty enough to ever store the whole stalks. So I just get them cut off and I put them in a Ziploc bag with a wet paper towel, and they can stay in here for a week, 2 weeks. I don't think I've ever pushed it past 2 weeks. But my fridge is pretty full right now, so we're doing this. So I'm already a little messy here because I'm 2 trays in, but I'm just gonna dump these Brussels sprouts into my food processor with the blade attachment on the bottom. And they're already trimmed, right? Because when I cut them off of the stalk, I already trimmed the bottoms off and got rid of any leaves that needed to be discarded. So I'm just gonna run these through on high until they are completely chopped to bits. Ten seconds or so. And the end result of that is just some finely chopped Brussels sprouts. And we are just gonna get these cooked up in a skillet. So to the skillet, I am gonna add half and half of a white cooking wine and some water, because I can't saute these in oil, or shouldn't saute these in oil, because they're going into the freeze dryer. So I'm gonna get this heated up on a pretty high flame. Once this gets hot, I am just going to add the Brussels sprout pieces, shavings, in there with some seasonings, and we're gonna get them cooked down. It's gonna take about 10 minutes to get these completely cooked down. I'm gonna cook them until the liquid is completely absorbed and the alcohol has been cooked off, and then we'll get them onto a freeze dryer tray. So I think I'm gonna end up with 3 freeze dryer trays in all, and so I will fill the 4th tray probably with some leftovers, I'm assuming. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just gonna dump these into the liquid. This has worked out twice already. And then I am going to add a tiny bit of red pepper flake, because you know I like my spice. And a good pinch of paprika as well. And a little pinch of salt. Well, more than a little pinch. I'm gonna do a healthy pinch of salt. Get that stirred around. And then I'm just gonna let this sit for a few minutes until, you know, it's had a few minutes to cook on one side. Then I'll kind of flip everything, stir it around, and let it go. And again, I'm gonna go until most or all of the liquid is absorbed in the pan. Let me show you the ones I have already done. So here is one of the 2 trays. The Brussels sprouts, you know, they've darkened up a bit because they have been cooked. and they are lovely in flavor. I am kind of excited that I decided to give this a try. I think I'm gonna call this Brussels sprout hash, and I can see myself using this as an additive in omelets, scrambled eggs, hash browns, or fried little potatoes. I can use this to add into stuffed peppers. This has a really, really good flavor. And of course, the seasonings that you decide to use will make it your own, will make it unique. For me, it was the salt, the paprika, and the red pepper flake. And oh, it is delicious. I could even serve it just as hash, maybe adding some crumbled bacon into it. Because honestly, when I do my Brussels sprouts, I do them on the stove. I do them in olive oil. So I cut them in half, and then I put them in a bowl, and I drizzle olive oil all over them, kind of massage it all in, let them sit for a few minutes. Then I put them cut side down into a pan, and then I let them go for probably 6 or 8 minutes until the bottom gets browned, and then I flip them and just put the lid on them and let them cook for a few more minutes. And then I add cooked bacon, so cooked and crumbled bacon, and top it with some Parmesan cheese with the lid on again to melt that cheese, and oh, they are so lovely. But you know, you can only eat that 1 or 2 times a week before you start getting a little inkling for something different. So that's why I'm doing this, because I still have Brussels sprouts, and we've kind of had our fill of that dish for a while. All right, let's get these stirred up. And burner is on high. I am just letting it go. All right, I'm gonna flatten them back out again. Give them a few more minutes, and while that is going, I'm just gonna get some of this mess cleaned up. All right, we are almost there. There's really not, there's a little bit of pooling of liquid, so almost there. My original intent was that with this was to get the Brussels sprouts kind of shaved down, and when I put them in the food processor, obviously it didn't shave them because I ran it for quite a while, 10 seconds or so, and I thought, ooh, what can I do with this? And I knew that if I did want them shaved at that point, I was gonna have to hand cut them, and it's late. It's already 8:30, and I don't wanna spend 2 hours cutting Brussels sprouts or however long it would take me, and then cook them, and then wait for them to cool to get them into the freezer. So I went with this, and I'm so glad I did. In fact, I just lost a corner of my tray over here because somebody decided they had to have some and liked it and took a whole serving of them. So I assure you, these are very good. Yeah, these look great. All right, let's get these onto a freeze dryer tray. Now, if you are a big Brussels sprout fan and you have your favorite way of preserving Brussels sprouts, I would love to hear about it. I have done a Rebel canning recipe in a balsamic vinegar. Those are okay. They kind of replicate what I do in the pan because I sometimes do a balsamic glaze over the top of them, or I will do the balsamic glaze actually when I cook them similarly as I do on the stovetop, but in the oven. So roasted Brussels sprouts with a balsamic glaze, but the canned ones, you know, they're just not quite the same. They are a little bit fluid laden and a little bit soggy, so not my favorite. And so I try to eat as many in season fresh Brussels sprouts as I can while I can get them, but I would love to put some on my shelf. And so I am super excited about this, just getting a little creative here in the kitchen. You can add things to this as well. You could add some diced carrots, you could add some onion. I thought about that as I was doing this, but feeling a little bit lazy at this point. It's getting late, and this honestly tasted really super yummy to me, so I'm just going with it. But if I do it again, I will probably add some additional ingredients just to check that way out as well, see, you know, what the difference is in flavor. But these are really, really yummy, super healthy for you as well. And now I can have access to cooked Brussels sprouts anytime I want to, or at least I will once they come out of the freeze dryer. So there is my third tray. although I did lose a full corner of this pan. So I'm just gonna re-spread that out a little bit, maybe still some from over here. And then I am going to let these cool off completely, get some lids on them, put them in the freezer, and once they are frozen and I have a fourth tray paired with it, we will get these into the freeze dryer and see how they come out the other side. Freeze dryer is ready to go and the food is frozen. So we're gonna get these Brussels sprout pieces or Brussels sprout hash loaded in. And for my last tray, I chose to put some rice on here. So I made 2 risottos recently. This is my black rice mushroom risotto. This is my carrot oat groat risotto. These are both wonderful. This one is the best risotto I have ever tried. And I wanted to make sure that I got both of these on the shelf to test them out for long-term storage because I will absolutely be making these again. This one is insanely good. This one is very good. This one is incredible. So I'm excited to give those a try. And if they do well, freeze-dried and rehydrated, then I will definitely be doing more of those to put away. Okay, now that the food is loaded, I just need to close the drain valve. And then press continue. This is already frozen, so the freeze phase is not going to take all too long. Then it's going to go into its sublimate phase, extracting all the moisture, then a dry phase, then an extra dry phase. This is currently set for 15 hours extra dry, and I'm thinking this will be done probably somewhere around the 36-hour mark, but I'll bring you back when it says it's done, and we'll check it out. All right, back at the freeze dryer, this is saying that it still has 1 hour to go. It's been going for almost 35.5 hours, and I'm gonna go ahead and check it now because I have a flight to catch in the morning and I'm really exhausted. So fingers crossed that this is done. To cancel early, you could hit cancel, but then you can't go back and add more time if it's not dry. So your best option for canceling early is to just hit the down arrow next to the timer. So I could add time here, or I can reduce time here. So I'm just gonna reduce this down to 0. And now it's going to ask me if I want to stop and not defrost, if I want to add more time, or if I want to stop and defrost. I'm not gonna make any of those choices yet. I have to check the food. In order to open the door, I need to release the pressure by opening the drain valve. And now we can give it a look. There is not much ice in here at all. It's like 1/8 of an inch thick. So there was not a whole lot of moisture to pull out of these. So hopefully that means they're dry. These are absolutely dry, 100% dry, yay. But I do have 1 tray down here with some leftovers on it. And these are gonna be the, I don't know. These feel dry. All right, I'm gonna get them into the kitchen. We'll take a closer look at these, especially where I have better light. But I'm not going to stop the machine until I know these are dry. And then I'll just come in and hit defrost, let it go for probably an hour because there's not that much ice, and then turn the machine off. All right, I'm gonna make this really quick and easy. So I have 3 trays of the Brussels sprout hash, which this looks like it came out fantastic. Super excited about that. I am gonna go ahead and put all of that into this 1 half-gallon jar. And this is gonna load up super easy because I can just drop it right in using this big funnel from freezedryingsupplies.com. That might not all fit. Let's see. I'm gonna try. I don't want to have to waste or dedicate another glass jar to this. I think we might be able to get it to settle down in there. Almost there. That's pretty full. That is right up to the top. There we go. Now I should have enough room in there to put 2 oxygen absorbers. So this is a half-gallon jar, and these are 100 cc's for a pint size bag or jar. A half-gallon is 2 times that, so I'm going to put 2 of those in there. I probably should have put them in at the bottom, but I'm not really worried about this rehydrating through glass, and I think that'll get used up pretty quick because this is amazing. I'm super happy to have that on my shelf. Again, to rehydrate this, I will just put water on it. It doesn't matter how much. I'll just strain the water off after it rehydrates, and then I can add this to any number of things that I want to taste like Brussels sprouts and to get the nutrition from the Brussels sprouts. I'm even thinking I could probably sprinkle this on salad dry if I wanted to. Smells really good. It's a little bit crunchy. I'm thrilled to be giving this a try, and I'll keep you posted on how that turns out. These other 2 here, so these are the leftovers of some of the stuff I have done. So this is the oat groat carrot risotto that was super, super delicious. And I wanted to see how it would turn out freeze-dried because I don't have a whole lot of pasta, sides. I have a lot of ingredients or full meals, but not a lot of sides freeze-dried. So this feels really good. I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. And I will keep a little bit of this out and we will get that rehydrated just to show you. And this is a cooked grain, so I think it'll be pretty quick. And this already resealed itself. That's what that noise was. Get my little bench scraper. I could have used the divider in here, but I had them kind of separated, so I wasn't too worried about it. Oh, I did say I would leave some out. Okay. We'll rehydrate that. And in here, again, this is a half-gallon jar, so I'm going to put in 2 of my smaller oxygen absorbers, and that will take care of any amount of air that is in half-gallon. And these we know are good because they are still pliable and soft. And this next one, this is the forbidden rice mushroom risotto that I had made, which is utterly phenomenal. This is, I think, the best risotto I've ever tasted. It doesn't have much of a aroma right now, but oh, man, this is good. And I definitely want this on my shelf for long-term storage. So we're gonna give it a try. Let's see how it does. And these are totally dry also. So we're in good shape here. I'm gonna be able to turn off my freeze dryer. All right, I'm going to just leave out a little bit of that as well. Get 2 oxygen absorbers in there. Now, anything I store in glass, I've mentioned in other videos that that's for use over the next 12 months. It's not going to be going into long-term storage. I have no doubt that if I left these in here without oxygen absorbers, they would be absolutely fine. But because I haven't done rice or grains before, I'm just erring on the side of caution. All right, let me get some water. We'll get these into a bowl. We'll take a look and we'll get them rehydrated and give them a taste. I went ahead and put some of that Brussels sprout hash in here because why not? We'll give it a try. I'm going to use some hot water from my kettle because I think that I would rather taste this hot, and I do think that hot water works best for most things, faster anyway. So again, this is a rehydration. The amount of water does not necessarily matter, except that these were risottos, so it kind of does. So it's kind of a reconstitution slash rehydration. I'm just going to go easy with the water, eyeball it, adding a little bit to start and then more if needed. Just making sure that everything has access to the water. And then we'll set that aside for just a minute. Same thing with the oat groat carrot risotto. I'm going to break this clump down just a little bit. And then add a tiny bit of water at a time until there's no more water. This is absorbing quite fast and quite a lot. So I'm going to add a little more. And just a tiny bit more over here. That was a little more than I had intended to add, but again, that's okay. I can pour off any water if I wanted to that's extra, but it doesn't look like I will need to. That's actually setting back up pretty well. So now I'm gonna let this one sit for a bit. Let me just stir this one around. And now let's give this a try. Sorry, the lighting is bad. It's late. It's late in the evening. I might be able to fix that a bit. They smell really good. They smell like Brussels sprouts. I like Brussels sprouts. I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. I think I will add a little more water, but we'll see. I wanna see how it does. It wouldn't matter if I did. This is something, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. This is something I would just pour excess water off of because I'm not looking for any type of a sauce on here whatsoever. I am just looking to rehydrate the leaves. So let's see how that does. I'll give them about a minute. Those feel soft. It hasn't even been a full minute yet. So let's go ahead and give this a try. All right, let's try these Brussels sprouts. Those are spicy. I put a lot of spices on there. These are delicious. These are actually really, really good. Yeah, what a great way to preserve Brussels sprouts. These are amazing. Nice little side dish. Of course, you can mix it in with things, stuffed cabbage, stuffed bell peppers, probably stuffing. We're in this Thanksgiving season. That's a hit. That's a win. I really like that a lot. That is delicious. And that rehydrated it in under a minute. Super good. Super good. All right, let's try this oat groat and carrot risotto, which was super, super good when I made it. And I want to see if it's just as good rehydrated after freeze drying. It's not done yet. It's really chewy. It's not done yet. The flavor is there. It's really good. It needs more time. Let's try the forbidden rice mushroom risotto. We might need more time on this one too. Yeah, it's still a little crunchy, but best risotto I've ever had. Hands down, the best tasting. If you like mushrooms, best risotto I've ever had. But it definitely needs more time. So let's give it 5 minutes. We'll see how it looks then. Let's give these a try again. And I realized that it's not the rice that's taking the amount of time in this dish, it's the mushrooms. Almost there. But the mushrooms are still just a little bit, they're not crunchy, but they're not totally soft yet either. So I would say for this, I would rehydrate this in hot water, but in a bowl that I could put a lid on to keep the heat and the steam in. And I would probably just let it sit for 20 minutes. I think that it would probably be done by then. This is fantastic. This one, let's see if it's done. That one's almost done. There's still just a tiny al dente, a little more than al dente bite to it. So again, same thing. I would put it in a container that I could put a lid on it, use hot water. And then let it sit for 20 minutes. And I'm sure that they will be perfect. I am so thrilled I did this because I do not have a lot of sides. And one of the reasons is sides can sometimes take a while. Risotto, up to an hour. So next time I make risotto, and I will, I'm gonna do probably a triple batch. And that way I can load up the freeze dryer with some risotto and I can have it ready with no effort whatsoever, but still have it taste like I kind of slaved over the stove for an hour. This is absolutely incredible. These I'm thrilled with. They came out better than expected. They taste fantastic. They are a little spicier than I expected them to be. They are spicier than when I first made them. Of course, that happens because you're concentrating everything when you freeze dry by removing the liquid. So next time I make these, I will cut back a little bit on the red pepper just because it is a little spicy. I like it a lot, but I'm not the only one who will be eating it. I don't know if I can get any more fresh Brussels sprouts this year because we're kind of late in the season, well into November, but I'm going to try. If I can make it to the farmer's market this weekend, I will buy more Brussels sprouts and I will preserve them like this because this is fantastic. And this is going to be an excellent add to so many dishes for the boost of nutrition, but also for the flavor. These came out incredible. They're lovely. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Freeze Dry Friday, Brussels sprout hash and revived risotto edition. My name is Kelly. You're at A Better Choice Homestead, and I do hope you come back and visit again soon.